Somebody looked you dead in the eye last week and lied to you. Maybe it was your partner. Maybe it was a coworker. Maybe it was that guy at the car dealership who swore, "This is the final price, I promise." And you believe them. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Humans are terrible at spotting lies. Studies out of places like the University of Portsmouth have shown that on average, people can only detect a lie about 54% of the time. That's basically a coin flip. But FBI interrogators, poker players, and trained psychologists, they're catching lies at a completely different level. Not because they're mind readers, because they know exactly what to look for. By the end of this video, you're going to know 5 psychological tricks that trained professionals use to catch a lie almost instantly. And once you learn them, you will never look at a conversation the same way again. Stick around till number 3, because that one is the trick therapists use, and it's terrifyingly accurate. Let's get into it. Here's the first mistake almost everyone makes. They look for lying behavior like it's universal. Crossed arms, no eye contact, fidgeting. Forget all of that. Here's what professional interrogators actually do first. They establish a baseline. Before asking the real question, they ask a few throwaway questions. How was traffic today? What did you have for lunch? Nothing important. Why? Because they're watching how this specific person behaves when they're telling the truth. Some people naturally avoid eye contact. Some people fidget when they're just nervous, not lying. Without a baseline, you're just guessing. So here's the trick you can use starting today. Before you ask someone a question that actually matters, ask 2 or 3 casual, low-stakes questions first. Watch their tone, their speed, their body language. Then ask the real question. If their behavior suddenly shifts, their speech slows down, their pitch changes, they start touching their face or neck, that shift, that deviation from their own baseline is the actual red flag, not the behavior itself. The change in behavior. This is single-handedly the biggest lie detection mistake people make, and fixing it alone will double your accuracy. Here's something wild about how the brain works. When someone is telling the truth about something that actually happened, their brain is pulling from memory. When someone is lying, their brain is pulling from imagination. And imagination works completely differently than memory. Truthful stories tend to be messy. They include weird, irrelevant details. Oh wait, we were actually running late because my sister called first. Random stuff that doesn't matter, but comes out naturally because that's literally how memory works. Liars, on the other hand, tend to do one of 2 things. They give you a story that's too clean, too simple, almost rehearsed because they built it in advance and didn't add unnecessary details because in their head, those details don't matter. Or, and this one surprises people, some liars overexplain. They pile on details because they think more detail equals more believable. But watch closely. Those details often don't connect each other. They feel like they're being listed, not remembered. Try this the next time someone tells you a story you're suspicious about. Ask a follow-up question about something small and unexpected. Oh, interesting. What was playing on a radio? A truthful person will often answer instantly, even if it seems irrelevant, because they're recalling a real memory. A liar will often pause, because they now have to invent something new on the spot that fits a story they already built. That pause? That's the tell. Okay, this is the one therapists and trained negotiators rely on more than almost anything else, so pay attention. Emotions have a natural timing. When something upsetting happens to someone, and they're telling you the truth, their facial expression typically shows up before or during the sentence, not after. But when someone is faking an emotion to sell a lie, there's often a small, almost invisible delay. The words come out, "I was so worried about you," and then, half a second later, the face catches up and tries to show worry. That gap between the words and the face is called an emotional lag, and it's one of the most reliable microsignals researchers like Paul Ekman have studied for decades. There's a second part to this too, mismatched intensity. If someone says, "I'm absolutely devastated," but their face barely moves or their voice stays flat and monotone, that mismatch between the words and the actual physical reaction is a massive red flag. Genuine emotion is fast, automatic, and matches the intensity of the words. Fake emotion is slightly delayed, and often either too big, overacted, or too small, like they forgot to fully commit to the performance. Next time someone tells you something emotional, don't just listen to the words. Watch the face while they're saying it, not after. The truth often lives in that half-second window. This one is sneaky, and it's a favorite of hostage negotiators and skilled interviewers. When you directly ask someone, "Did you do this?" a practiced liar already has an answer ready. They rehearsed it. It's smooth. It's convincing. So instead of asking the direct question, professionals ask an indirect one. Instead of, "Did you cheat on the exam?" they might ask, "What do you think the punishment should be for someone who cheats on an exam?" Here's why this works. A truthful person who has nothing to hide usually answers based on fairness or general principle. I mean, it depends how serious it is, but probably a warning first. But someone who actually did it, their brain is now torn between two goals: sound reasonable, but also unconsciously protect themselves. So you'll often hear surprisingly harsh, over-the-top answers. They should be expelled immediately, no excuses, because deep down, they're trying to distance themselves from the act by condemning it extra hard. It's called overcorrection, and it's a subconscious defense mechanism. Or the opposite happens. They get weirdly defensive of the hypothetical person. Well, everyone makes mistakes. It's not that big a deal. Both extremes are worth noticing. The trick is simple. Stop asking the direct question. Ask the question around it, and listen to how they answer the person in the hypothetical, not just the words. Last one, and this is probably the easiest to use starting literally today. When someone tells you something you're unsure about, don't challenge them. Don't accuse them. Just calmly repeat the last part of what they said back to them, like a question. They say, "I left the office at 6 and went straight home." You simply say, "You left at 6? That's it. No accusation. No tone change. Someone telling the truth will usually just confirm it. Yes, 6, maybe a couple minutes after. Simple, consistent, because they're remembering a fact. Someone lying often does one of two things. They either over-explain immediately. Yes, 6, I mean, it might have been like 6:05, but yeah, I left, I was tired, traffic was bad too. Suddenly adding new information nobody asked for because your simple repeat made them nervous their story might not hold up. Or they get subtly defensive. Why? What's the problem? Even though you literally just repeated their own sentence back to them with zero judgment. That defensiveness to a neutral, non-accusatory repeat is one of the cleanest tells there is, and almost nobody knows to use it. So let's recap real quick. Set a baseline before you judge behavior. Watch for stories that are too clean or too padded with disconnected detail. Watch the timing of emotion, not just the emotion itself. Ask the question around the question, not the question itself. And when in doubt, just repeat it back and watch what happens. None of these are magic. No single sign proves a lie on its own. But when you start noticing 2 or 3 of these stacking together in the same conversation, that's when you know something's off. If this video just made you replay 5 conversations from this week in your head, good. That means it's working. Drop a comment telling me which one of these 5 surprised you the most. And if you want part 2, where I break down how professional poker players read tells at the table, hit subscribe because that one is even crazier than this. See you in the next one.